Yo guys, what's going on? I'm Tim Kelly, Senior Editor and Content Developer here at Section 215. Thank you guys for watching this video and then hopefully reading the article on section215.com that coincides with the video. In this video, it's pretty simple. It's going to be breaking down my top 5 keys or things that the Eagles need to do this Thursday on Thanksgiving to make sure that they are able to defeat the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, an easy goal would say, well, stop DeMarco Murray. But I think with these goals, I'm trying to be a little bit realistic. Obviously, holding DeMarco Murray at 85 or 90 rushing yards compared to 120 or 130, obviously, that goes without saying that that's ideal. But there's a few things that I look at, and I really think the Eagles need to control this game, and I think that they can do it in these ways. Way one is Mark Sanchez needs to get rid of the ball quicker. I think a lot of what got him into pressure against the Titans was the fact that Mark Sanchez, his most successful game this season, I mean, obviously it's been a short sample size, but his most successful game came against the Panthers. They're not a great team. They're without Greg Hardy. The defense isn't great, but what he did, and even somewhat against the Texans, is he took what the defense gave him. He didn't try to look through 4 or 5 progressions when he didn't need to. When somebody was open, he got rid of the ball, and he was getting rid of the ball quicker than Nick Foles did. The last 2 games, in a lot of senses, I just threw the Packers game out. But even against the Titans, a lot of what got him into pressure was he had open guys, he missed that read, kept looking through, and one of the plays that he threw an interception, he was pressured, he tried to step up, he tried to force a ball across his body. Mark Sanchez needs to get rid of the ball quicker, and then I think a lot of the bad mechanics with his footwork, with him throwing against his body, I think that goes away because a lot of times when he's doing that type of stuff, it's because he's pressured. Second goal would be for the Eagles to get pressure on Tony Romo. I mean, if you watch the end of the Giants and Cowboys game, I am about as much as you can be for an Eagles fan. I am a pro Tony Romo person. I don't root for Tony Romo, but when people talk about Tony Romo being one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL and Tim Tebow is better than Tony Romo and asinine things like that, it bothers me because I'm a fan of the game and I watch the game, and because the Cowboys are in the same division as the Eagles, I see a lot of the Cowboys, and I know how good of a quarterback Tony Romo is. Tony Romo is one of the better, not best, quarterbacks in the NFL. But with the offensive line protection that he's getting, a lot of quarterbacks are going to be successful. Tyron Smith and Zach Martin have both had incredible seasons. The left side of that offensive line has been a rock this season for Tony Romo. And the Eagles are going to need to get some pressure. Fletcher Cox, Connor Barwin, Vinny Curry. Everybody needs to get some pressure in this game because the Eagles were able to get pressure in that Giants game. That was a big primetime game, and they won 27-0. And I think when they do get the pressure, they're a very effective defense because it allows guys like Kerry Williams to get turned around, Bradley Fletcher to get turned around, Malcolm Jenkins to make some plays, and it doesn't become as obvious that they're a little thinner at the linebacker position. When they don't get that pressure, which they didn't against the Packers, you see teams just crossing straight over the middle against this team, going deep, which the Packers also did with Jordy Nelson. I think a lot of what this game is going to come down to is DeMarco Murray is going to get his, but do you let Tony Romo and Des Bryant get theirs? And a lot of what that's going to come down to is how much time in the pocket does Tony Romo need to get to. The third key kind of coincides with the second, and that would be shutting down Jason Witten. I don't want to say too many guys on Dallas's offense are going to get theirs, but I think Des Bryant's going to get some of his. Terrence Williams will have a catch or two, maybe more. Cole Beasley is an effective weapon. Dallas has a very good offense. You can make a case that they have the most complete offense if you take their offensive line into account in the entire NFL. So you're not just going to shut down Dallas. This is not going to be a low-scoring game, but you need to limit your guys that are having big games. Jason Witten has been an Eagles killer his entire Hall of Fame career, and they need to make sure over the middle that this is not the game that it gets exposed, that D'Amico Ryans is out and you're running with Emmanuel Acho and Casey Matthews in there at times. They need to make sure that they seal off the middle and Jason Witten does not have a big game. The fourth goal would be this sounds obvious, but in this game I think it goes it goes a little bit even more important because They don't want to get an early hold this game. I think if at all possible, they want to get the ball early and they want to take the lead, or at least have that opportunity to take a lead early. And because if they get in a hole against this Cowboys team, it's going to be similar to what the Chargers did last year, where they kind of drained the clock and didn't allow the Eagles to use their pace. They're going to run the clock. They're going to drain the clock, and your offense, which already isn't quite as lethal with Mark Sanchez playing quarterback and LaShawn McCoy having an inconsistent season, that takes it down even another notch if you can't even get the ball. And if Dallas is able to get an early lead and drain the clock, your chances of winning are slim to none. And the fifth and final goal goes somewhat with the fourth goal, and that's for the Eagles to run the ball well, keep their pace in this game. Dallas is going to, I don't think that there's any question, and a lot of teams try and do this against the Eagles, and if you're not one of the fast-paced offenses in the NFL, this is kind of what you have to do to beat those type of teams, is you want your pace to be slow and steady, run the ball, drain the clock. The Eagles, obviously, the opposite of that, and they want to play their game regardless of what the Cowboys do. The Eagles want to score as early and often as possible because we saw it against the Titans. That defense looked worn down in the third quarter, and this is not a very good Dallas team defensively. Their defensive line did not get really any push against Eli Manning and allowed him to have one of his best games of the season, coming off of what was a 5-interception game. Odell Beckham, obviously we know what he did, but the Giants have Odell Beckham, and then it's a massive drop-off with guys like Reuben Randall. The Eagles have a ton of weapons. They also have an effective running game, which the Giants really didn't get a ton of against the Cowboys, and they still pushed them to the brink. The Eagles will have Jordan Matthews, who's played really well with Mark Sanchez, Jeremy Maclin, Brent Selleck, Zach Ertz. You get the point. And even Riley Cooper is still on the team, at least. If they can get all of their weapons involved, run their pace, play their game, I think that the Eagles stand a very good chance in this game. That's a big if, though, because to be completely honest with you, I look at this as a game that the Cowboys are going to win by 10+. I think that they're going to drain the clock really well, and the biggest hope that I think Eagles fans have right now, I think the Eagles are going to make the playoffs. I don't think they're going to win the NFC East. And really, I think what we're banking on is that Tony Romo plays how Tony Romo has at times in his career in December, and this team kind of collapses, because without that, you look at Green Bay, and they have the best quarterback in the NFL. They have very good wide receiver weapons in Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb, but they don't have a great running game. You look at the Patriots, they have Rob Gronkowski, they have Tom Brady, they have LeGarrette Blount back in the fold now, but they don't have great wide receivers. You look around at some of the best offenses in the NFL. Denver hasn't had a consistent running game this season. Dallas really is one of the teams that is right in that mix, and I really look at them as one of the most complete offenses, if not the most complete offenses, because you have the elite wide receiver and some other wide receivers. We saw Cole Beasley step up big Sunday night. So Terrence Williams has had a pretty good season. You have Jason Witten, who's not quite what he used to be. He's still a very good tight end. You have Tony Romo, who's not Peyton Manning or Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, but he's still one of the better weapons in the game. And you have DeMarco Murray on pace for just under 2,000 yards, running behind what looks like one of the best offensive lines in the NFL in the past 10 years. So the Eagles, they need to get the ball early and they need to score. I think that they can try and run their pace, but I think it's going to have to be in case where the defensive line gets a ton of pressure, slows down DeMarco Murray, and forces Tony Romo into turnovers. And I did not see that happening. But if the Eagles are to win, those are my 5 keys on Tim Kelly, section215.com, at SEC215. Like us on Facebook as well. If you still go on Facebook, I will catch you guys next time.